On June 12, 1897, an 8.1 magnitude earthquake rattled Assam, with tremors reaching as far as Dhubri, Shillong and Kolkata. This earthquake, aptly named the Great Earthquake of 1897, took 1,542 lives and leveled most of the buildings that the British built with bricks and limestone. Following the earthquake, Assam, a prized province of British India on account of its flourishing tea estates, and particularly Shillong, the capital of Assam till 1972, saw an overhaul in the design and construction of the colonial houses. Thus, after a thorough study by a team of British and Japanese seismologists, a new type of house design was conceptualized: the Assam-type house. These Assam-type houses had walls made of reed and bamboo, plastered with a paste of cow dung and mud. The wall frames were made of timber. This ensured sufficient flexibility and strength during an earthquake event. Some notable features of the Assam-type houses are steep gable roofs, elaborate barge ports, bay windows, spacious porch in front of the entrance and a long veranda. The houses were mostly single-story and rarely two stories. The floor was raised on a platform and made of wood planks. The houses were L or C-shaped on flat terrains and rectangular-shaped on the slopes. The materials used were all locally available. The houses were also well suited for the humid climate of Assam. In 1899, British geologist Richard Dixon Olam came out with his 379 pages account of the Great Earthquake of 1897, providing valuable insights into the buildings that withstood the tremor. In his memoir, he states that houses that were entirely made of timber and bent like willow escaped unscathed, while most of the pucca houses were destroyed. He toured the region extensively and studied the local environment and locally available building materials. He posited that given the vulnerability of the region to earthquakes, all government buildings in Assam should be built using seismic engineering construction practices. That is, the buildings should be light and flexible. Around the same time, a Japanese team of seismologists led by Fusaki Chiyomori visited Shillong and came out with a detailed report suggesting elaborate wooden joints for the proposed new buildings modeled on the Imperial University of Japan. In the 1930s and 40s, the Assam-type house saw wide adoption. Not only government buildings, but public halls and private residences were built following the Assam-type style. Bungalows in the vast tea estates and hill areas incorporated Tudor architecture features, such as using bricks and stones for the first floor and wood for the upper floors. Chinese carpenters from Kolkata were largely employed in the construction of these Assam-type houses. Their service, highly regarded by the Europeans and the Indian elites, were revealed by the emerging middle class consisting mostly of clerks working in the tea estates. With time, its style deviated from the original design. Corrugated galvanized iron roofs, steel beams, timber-louvered windows, decorative staircases, and brick walls were some of the upgrades. Portland cement was used frequently in the half walls, and Burmese wood was used for making windows and doors. The Assam-type house design reached the villages where vernacular architecture elements were further incorporated. On August 15, 1950, Assam saw another devastating earthquake, but the extent of damage to the buildings this time was lesser, a testament to the ingenuity of the Assam-type house. In a paper titled Experimental Study on Traditional Assam-type Wooden House for Seismic Assessment by a team of scholars from IIT Guwahati, it was noticed that, or in simpler terms, it is earthquake resistant. These days, Assam-type houses are becoming a rare sight, with it mostly seen in the rural areas. And for those in the urban areas, it is usually preserved buildings of historical relevance. A possible reason for its non-adoption in the modern times may be the shortage of building materials required for the construction of these Assam-type houses, or simply the convenience of RCC buildings that are much more durable and easier to find laborers for. But amongst nondescript RCC buildings that are mostly bland and inseparable from one another, there is a rustic and timeless appeal to these Assam-type houses. For they tell of a time when houses had distinct identities and were conscious extensions of the personalities of its dwellers. And in that regard, it merits due preservation efforts by the people and the authorities.